We're celebrating Earth Day, a day that is used to preserve the environment, protect the planet from pollution, and highlight environmental issues. A new CBS poll finds 2/3 of Americans thinks it is their personal responsibility to do something about climate change right now. The first Earth Day was celebrated all the way back in 1970. That was after a series of environmental catastrophes, including an oil spill. More than 20 million people took part in that very first Earth Day. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, was created after that first Earth Day in 1970. Congress created the agency after witnessing the large participation in the Earth Day demonstrations. Earth Day went global for the first time in 1990. A new survey shows the climate change is highly partisan, with more than double the number of Democrats supporting actions than Republicans. A majority of respondents also favored the Biden administration's policies to give tax incentives to make homes more energy efficient, although a smaller majority said that they support tax credits for electric vehicles. Now, scientists say climate change is threatening the world's largest trees, the giant sequoias. Native to California, they are endangered. But as Ian Lee shows us, the mighty trees are flourishing where? Across the pond.
You can't miss these majestic trees, giant sequoias towering over the surrounding landscape. But this isn't California, it's the English countryside.
Yeah, the trees here, they're very popular.
Scientist Phil Wilkes monitors the monsters outside of London, measuring the trees with a laser.
You can then estimate how much carbon is stored in the tree.
The average giant sequoia pulls roughly 190 pounds of carbon out of the air every year, offsetting about 800 miles in a gas-powered car. Phil then compares the giant sequoia's growth to their American cousins.
How do these trees stack up to their relatives in the States?
They're doing surprisingly well, actually. These trees are relatively young, so they're mere saplings compared to the trees in the States. These trees are probably 110 years old.
Giant sequoias can live more than 3,000 years and soar nearly 300 feet in the air. But experts say wildfires and climate change are threatening their native habitat. That's not a problem here in the UK.
Most people, though, don't think of California and the UK having the same climate.
Sierra Nevada mountains can be quite similar to here, so it's cooler and it's more damp, and that's very British weather.
Today, more than 500,000 giant sequoias are thriving in the UK, compared to fewer than 80,000 in the US.
We're very happy to have a tree like that here. We associate them with your fine country, and it's lovely to have them here.
If you run out of them, then we can always give you a few back, can't we? Because we're cousins after all.
Giving an American icon a safe home away from home.
Tropical forest loss declined last year, but overall, tree destruction remains high. Last year, about 14,000 square miles of tropical forest were lost, down 9% from 2022. Now, that is bigger than the state of Maryland. That gives you kind of a context there. New data shows that political changes in Brazil and Colombia led to significant reductions, with Brazil reaching its lowest level since 2015. Now, the ocean, of course, also plays a big role in climate change. Scientists are sounding the alarm about a major coral bleaching event on the Great Barrier Reef. They say is caused by record warm ocean temperatures. Coral bleaching occurs when corals become stressed and they expel the algae living in their tissues, and that causes them to then turn white. Such events not only have serious implications for marine life, but also for people and economies that rely on the reefs.
In the United States alone, it's estimated that coral reefs contribute about more than $3 billion to the U.S. economy annually.
Scientists stress that bleached coral is still alive. In order to recover, experts say efforts need to be made to cut greenhouse gas emissions to combat climate change. Well, the EPA is enacting two significant regulations to help combat climate change. The first is the Clean Air Standards to reduce toxic air pollution from chemical plants. The agency says it will cut the number of people who live near those chemical plants and are at a heightened risk of cancer by 96%. The agency also rolled out a drinking water standard for PFAS, also known as forever chemicals. Back in 2017, PFAS were found in North Carolina. A chemical plant had been contaminating the local water supply by dumping the PFAS into a nearby river. An estimated 200 million Americans are exposed to PFAS through drinking water.
Everyone should be able to turn on their tap and trust that the water that they're drinking and giving their children is safe.
You can't smell these chemicals, you can't taste them, you can't see them. So that's why these new rules are so important.
PFAS are used in everything from food packaging, water-resistant clothing, cosmetics. The chemical is linked to certain cancers, liver damage, and developmental issues in children. Water utilities must reduce PFAS levels to near zero in the next 5 years. Well, this year's theme for Earth Day is focused on plastic use, and a poll finds that 85% of people all around the world are in favor of a global ban on single-use plastics. Now, this comes as the United Nations prepares to negotiate an international treaty to reduce plastic pollution. Currently, 60% of the 430 million tons of plastic produced each year is single-use, and of that, only 9% is recycled. Goodwill of Northwest North Carolina is going plastic bag free for Earth Day and really beyond. Starting today, plastic shopping bags will no longer be available in the 51 retail and outlet stores. Shoppers will be encouraged to bring their own reusable bags. Starbucks also taking some steps towards sustainability. Just recently, the coffee chain debuted new cold drink cups that contain 20% less plastic than previous versions. Starbucks says the move is part of its commitment to cut its carbon, water, and waste footprints in half by the year 2030. There are some pretty simple, eco-friendly strategies that can really go a long way. Recycle what you can, like the paper, the plastics, the bottles, and the cans. Reuse items when you can, and choose reusable items over those disposable ones. And of course, planting trees or other plants.